Oh. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Pals Pulls. The gang is all here. All four of us, including Tyler.
Hello, I have a mustache that I instantly regretted. Hi.
Kale.
I also regret your mustache. What's up, hot dog?
It's not good.
Marco.
You'll see Tyler's mustache.
Yo, guys, come on. I have body image issues already. Let's not make it worse. Although, if you're listening to the audio recording of this, maybe there's a reason to go on our YouTube.
It's a good plug, although I don't know if I would call that a reason for people to flock to YouTube. Maybe the content. Of course, I'm here too, Sean. We're here to talk about 5
I don't know.
of this week's biggest books on what was, I would say, a pretty stacked week in terms of releases. We're going to be talking about Detective Comics number.
Love that cover.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 1062.
Number, yeah, thank you, 1062, because they tried to hide it as much as possible on the cover. Superman Space Age number 1. We got
Sean, is that
yeah.
the Space Age? Is that just normal format size? It's not like a black label sort of thing, right?
It's normal, I guess, size, yeah, but it's
Like the
obviously, yeah,
Thick,
proportions or whatever.
thick as a brick shit
yeah,
house.
it is, yeah. I didn't
not-
realize it was gonna be so long. Swamp Thing number 15.
Nice. Good cover.
Thank you. Ant-Man number 1.
Excellent cover.
Yes, and last and maybe least, Amazing Spider-Man number 6/900.
Ooh, who's that?
Oh, that is a nice cover. Who is
Thank
that? Is that Gian
Martin?
Di Domenico or whatever? Gian Domenico?
No, that's not Martin.
I don't see a credit on the actual cover, but
I'll do
John
some research on
DiMaggio?
that. I'm curious now.
I'm
John
looking.
DiMaggio.
I'm
That's a
looking.
freaking
You know what?
baseball
I
player.
doubt it's John DiMaggio, but I'm not. I can't rule it out.
There are so many people that did covers here, but yeah. If you
It's just name is Sue, S-U.
all right, thank you,
All right.
Sue.
There you
Great cover.
go. Sean, I want to say congratulations. You are one issue away from collecting a full Swamp Thing run. So,
That's true.
congrats.
That's true. Thank you.
Yeah.
However, it is worth pointing out. Maybe it goes on. Maybe this isn't the end.
What do
you
you
go.
get for doing that? Do you just like regain your virginity? How does that? What works there?
No,
So
you
how-
get a
is
card.
that how I
You get-
reclaim it?
You get the membership card.
It's a green card.
Swamp.
I made that joke.
Swamp ass.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I don't need to collect the whole run to get that.
You don't even need to run to get that. You just-
No, I just need to have
Hang out
a
in the
high
chair.
electric bill and have a poor bank account. One of those. That's a good combo for Swamp Ass.
and buying comics will get you a small bank account too.
It's true.
Uh,
Especially this
boy.
week.
these were some expensive books this week. To replenish our funds, you could head on over to patreon.com/thecomicspals,
Please. I'm
Where-
so poor.
for less than the price of literally any one of these comics. You can support the podcast, and you get our newsletter, $3 a month. And if you want to contribute more, you get more. You get Pals Polls every single month. In addition to being able to vote in our book club, get a nice shout out on the show, superhero or supervillain nickname. Lots of cool stuff over on Patreon for you guys. If you want to watch this live, twitch.tv/thecomicspals for this very show at 6 p.m. Eastern every single Thursday. If you're watching now, say hello live. We always like to hear from you. Saturdays, every single Saturday, 10:15 a.m. Eastern for the main show. We're going to have Victor Danders joining us this week to talk about... Wow. Pete, is that you? To talk about San Diego Comic-Con and his exploits over there, and his Kickstarter for Kinderguardians. So lots of cool stuff happening this week on the show. We did drop a San Diego Comic-Con recap episode that's live everywhere now if you guys want to check that out, where we just talked about all the announcements from the event. We'll do a little bit more of that this Saturday, but we wanted to get it all out there for you guys in one big chunk. And the show's just, it's too long already. We didn't need all that, so we put it somewhere else. Let's get into the reviews. Let's talk about Detective Comics 126, or 1026 rather. this is a milestone in a lot of ways, not from a number standpoint, although it is remarkable for any comic book to get to that kind of numbering. But they changed even the logo. The creative team is a huge change. Rob V on board. That's amazing for him to be, taking a stab at Batman. Raphael Albuquerque, Dave Stewart on colors, Ariana Mayer on letters. We've all been looking forward to this book. Very highly anticipated to see what Rom would do with Batman. Was this the issue 1 that you were expected?
No, I kind of thought we'd get into it a bit more quickly. I think the setup pieces are to be expected, but I don't yet know like the big bad, I guess, and that's fine. I trust Rom, so I don't think I like need that out the gate. But for if it wasn't for the fact that it was Rom B writing this, I probably would expect a little bit more of, tell me what the stakes are, and but otherwise, I thought it was good.
I'm kind of with you, Marco, on this, but like this is what I expected though. Like Swamp Thing originally,
Yeah.
it didn't really get to me until like issue 3. Like I kept with it because I had faith in Rom V as a writer after reading These Savage Shores, which I loved. And that's kind of what I'm expecting to happen here. Rom V is good with the slow burn, and that's what I feel like we're getting here. There are some themes here that I think are interesting. A lot of new characters that not really introducing any of the established Batman rogues, really. Sure, spoiler, Talia shows up, but I wouldn't really consider her a rogue at this point, even though she goes rogue in this issue. Yeah, it's different. I think for me, what really stood out was the Albuquerque art. I can't remember the last time I've seen Albuquerque do like a full issue of interiors for a book that I've wanted to read. But yeah, it's good looking. Like his pacing through like the action scenes where Batman's fighting this weird demon guy at a shipping dock were real fun, and he uses these like weird, sometimes canted angles too for some of the panel shots, which I enjoyed. But yeah, I'm not sold 100% on it, but it's enough to keep my he whet my appetite with this first issue, that's for sure.
No, he has my attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, this felt like the first, scene of a play, of an opera, Everyone's throwing around that operatic word as a description for this. And, I think that's probably because the first part, literally, of the book is an opera.
How did you read that in your head?
Very dumb. Very dumb. I'm very stupid.
I was hearing Russell Crowe and Les Mis, which was not enjoyable, but that's on me.
I wish I knew anything.
I heard it as like a wavering voice every time he'd say a thing.
Maybe I was expecting some like iambic pentameter or something, but like I was trying to find the rhythm in the words, which is kind of distracting me. So I'm curious to see where he goes with the music. I think that Barbados scene is another one which I felt like was rhymey and it was sing-songy. But how does that translate universally across the page? I have yet to see, but
I guess I don't know. It wasn't really what I was hoping for. It was really good from an art standpoint. The art was phenomenal. Raphael Albuquerque is one of the best working. But it was more vibey than it was like any particular, thing that happened in terms of being a standout. A little bit of a different interpretation of Batman, a little bit lighter. He's playing a game with himself to see how long it takes him to, dispatch of some goons. It's kind of a cute moment, I guess. Not really what you expect from Batman. And then he has a playful engagement with Nightwing that that one felt more normal, just because for Batman to play with one of his family, sure, but within his own mind, I don't really buy that.
You read that
You
opening
would-
as a game? I read that as like him just testing himself further. I read that as like a time trial. Like,
Oh, it was even made fun of. It was a joke.
okay.
'Cause it-
I don't know. I sort of just saw it as, I don't know, man, he's out there by himself every single night. You got to entertain yourself.
Do
I saw it
you?
as just pure neuroticism.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a part of Batman's character, but okay. And then the stuff in Coronis or whatever that was. I mean, we literally don't know a single thing.
Yeah. That was confusing
So
to me.
it's hard to make heads or tails of it. I would certainly not say that this is like I'm not going to say past the end of this. I couldn't with art this good. Like I'm just going to show a random panel that I happened on, and it's gorgeous. It's a Bruce in like some kind of a dream sequence type of thing, with a very large bat gripping his body, draped in reds and blacks.
In
It's
repose.
just amazing,
Is
amazing.
the name is Barbados, which is Barbados, which is that character from Metal, right?
Yep.
Barbados is the character from Metal, the character from Grant Morrison's run on Batman,
Yep.
becoming has become a major antagonist, I guess, in Batman's rogues gallery. So that was the most intriguing part for me, because I'm a Morrison mark. So whenever there's an echo of their run on, in a Batman comic, I'm in on that. But other than that, I don't know.
I'd argue the backup is worth the price of admission on this. I really liked the Jim Gordon, Danny on art, and Cy Spurrier on writing. I really enjoyed that backup. I'm a big Jim Gordon mark. Even C.W. Gordon says prefer the Gordon backup, oddly. Maybe I should read Joker. I've heard good things. Yeah, I've heard good things about Joker too, a.k.a. the Gordon book. So this has, shades of that. It even directly references what happens in that. And it's just like a down and dirty private eye story that looks like it's going to get a little wacky. I also love Danny's art. That is an artist I will follow anywhere. So
She felt a little looser than she typically might be, like, which I thought was interesting. Like the facial structures almost reminded me of like some Frank Miller stuff, where there's this like kind of digital watercolor wash over things. Because usually she incorporates a lot more shadow and a lot more heavy inks.
Yeah.
So this was a different flavor, but I enjoyed it, and I liked that it was all structured around a 9-panel grid. It just made things really clean and easy to follow.
I'm gonna say pull for the creative team and the promise more than, and the stellar art more than what the book actually accomplishes in its first issue for me. $5 for a full story and a backup is pretty decent in today's age. But
that's 1 gallon of gas.
I haven't pulled Detective Comics in a while, because it's generally the less important Bat book from a happening standpoint. And so, to be honest, unless the creative team can tell me why I need to read this within the next 2 issues, I'm probably not going to continue to follow it. I won't give this as long of a tail as I would another Rom book.
Specifically because it's a Detective Comics book.
Yeah. Because I know it's not going to have deep ramifications, so it's going to have to be really good.
It might have ramifications, though.
Oh my
Hey,
god!
let's get it. Yeah, pull.
Sure, yeah. Honestly, pull for the cover. That's a fucking great cover.
Yeah, like would you pay $5 to have that in your house? Yeah, sure. Well,
Yeah, I
you
would.
bought it digitally, but
Let's get one of those digital frames, I guess. You give
So-
to your geriatric grandmother.
wow. All right, well, let's move on. Let's get on to what is probably the main event of this week.
Ant-Man.
Not quite. Superman Space Age, Book 1. It's by Mark Russell, with art by Mike Allred and Laura Allred on colors, Dave Sharp on letters. This was very long. Didn't realize that would be the case.
Me neither. Yeah.
Very long.
But I dare say this is a phenomenal comic book.
He's good. Russell
I love
delivers.
this. Yeah.
He I think the way that he incorporates like real world commentary is always the thing that for me attracts me to his writing. And he had like a whole like 3 pages almost of just, you know, the consequences of perspective and perception of your values and truth, and it ties into Superman with, you know, truth, justice, and the American way, and like how that kind of counterpoints with Clark's very limited knowledge. Being young, he's not exposed to the world, and on the writing front, I think is just an entertaining comic. He drives the narrative really well. He balances a whole bunch of characters. This was a lot of fun, and I know I've mentioned in the past, and I'm not a fan of Allred art. This was good. This was tight. Allred. Ecstatics, I think, was a little too wacky and loose for me, but this very much gave me like underground comics vibes, and it was much more structured than I think I've seen his other art.
So for me, one of my favorite DC comics of all time is New Frontier. That idea of having the superheroes kind of start in this real world setting and kind of letting that real world grow with it, and it being this kind of very Americana setting, I think fits well with the DC universe, and that's where this is set. This is set like right post World War II. You know, Superman's still, you know, young, and it deals with a lot of real life ramifications. It deals with his dad in the Pacific Theater, Pa Kent, and like, spoiler, there's a dead kid in this book. Like, it deals with the ramifications of that, and Bruce coming to the realization that the world is that way. Deals with the JFK assassination. Mark Russell can really work with these, I guess, timeline settings, and then injecting classic superheroes into it. He did it with Fantastic Four Life Story, which I really enjoyed, where he did something very similar to that. And he still somehow manages to find the heart in all of it. And I think the book, the central theme of the book being hope, is almost a cliche when it comes to a Superman book, but it also fucking works when done right. And I think this book does it right. It's good, hopeful Superman, flawed Superman too, which I think is important when writing him. And then I didn't realize it would be this. Introduces the DC universe from this time period too. Like, we get the introduction of Batman, Hal Jordan, a little peek at Diana too. Yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I'm a huge Allred mark too. So anytime I see his work, I am all over it. Yeah.
I actually wasn't crazy about this, and it
Wow.
could have been the length. This was the last thing I read, so I felt like I was, and I only just finished it, so I felt like I was really stressing to get through it. But a lot of it felt like it was too long. You know, all these flashbacks and these Lois Lane monologues that go on for pages and pages. It felt like so much just bloviated text. And it just, I don't know. I feel like I've seen this done better. And I gotta tell you, this is, I like Allred a lot. I did not like any of this.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about it?
It just, I don't know. It felt it felt like he was trying to be a little too, you said structured. Maybe too structured. Maybe he was trying to be maybe too real with it. I don't know. It just didn't hit me the way it normally does.
I can see that.
I like my Allred a little weirder, I think.
I think my only criticism of the art is that everybody looks like they never sleep at all. These people been up for a minute and it's time to sleep.
It's the way he draws the cheeks, right? They almost look like bags under their eyes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, look at well, this is a bad example because I think that's the point of the character. But like, just look at Pariah. Like, when was the last time he slept?
Yeah.
It's just where I opened it.
Pariah is about to start the Cure in the DC universe.
Yeah, my guy's just super into eyeshadow.
Yeah. I thought that was a weird injection. I was not expecting that at all. I'm like, oh, are we in a Pariah renaissance right now?
That was one of the things that sold me on this comic book, actually, was that I haven't read Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I know that, or at least I'm pretty sure, that Pariah is a major factor in that. And that event takes place in the 80s. So what we see in the beginning of the book is a Superman who has accepted that Earth is forfeit. It's over. They failed. And him and his family, they're just accepting that their death is now. And then it flashes back 20 years, and I assumed, all right, well, they're just going to show like how Superman is able to avoid this somehow, some way. And that was just a potential future. But as I read on and we got to the Pariah stuff where he's like, I know the future, it's over, this is horrible. And we see that everything that, Superman is doing, everything that Bruce is doing, and you kind of get into this headspace where it's like, yes, Tyler's right. This is a book about hope, but I also took it to be about the inevitability of the end, and how there's no shame in being hopeful or trying your best to avoid that, but that at least in this world, that's what's going to happen. So I like that message because it's a complicated one.
The one thing that Allred's art, and I am an Allred fan, but a lot of the times when there's movement involved and I guess action, it does feel like paper dolls almost, like it's just being pasted and on. There's no real, like you look at Daniel Warren Johnson, probably the exact opposite end of the spectrum from Allred. There's kineticism there. There's not here in Allred's art, and I don't mean that as a knock. That's kind of the charm of Allred, in my opinion. Like especially Madman, because he kind of plays with that a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is a little weird. Like when Superman's flying, I think is where it jumped out to me.
Yeah, look at how stiff he is right there.
Oh, dude, that's the exact page I'm looking at. Yep.
Fair point.
And that's the thing. It's stiff, right? And I think it's accentuated, which is why I think I like this a little bit more. It's because those lines are so, they're really tight. They're very clear. They don't have a lot of curves to them. They're just accentuating the body. And then that's it. There's no, like, I don't know, extra stretching of an arm or something. It's contained. And I think it leads to a bit more of that just static feature being a bit more obvious in this.
Hey Matt, yes, we got to Detective Comics before this, but we're on Space Age. I really liked the realism that was put into the book in terms of addressing in a real world sense, real life moments like Kennedy dying. That was amazing. Whenever Lois got arrested and she was locked up with John Lewis.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I really liked that moment.
Sorry, you said, when Kennedy was killed. That was amazing.
Clip it.
Yeah. Also, don't worry, Matt. You didn't miss a Swamp Thing review. We're good. We're on track.
Yeah. I think you would have preferred to. But yeah, just I don't know. This was such a great book, I thought. Lex is a nutcase. That maybe was the only thing where I was like, it's a little over the top.
He annihilates a city, and in one panel, the punishment is you've been charged with 2 million murderers.
Yeah. I loved that. That was stupid.
That's it.
But And he like brushed it off too. He was just like, "Oh yeah, they'll blame it on like the Russians or some shit. Like I'll be fine." Like the fuck? That's so cavalier for what you just did.
This feels like the same kind of Lex that stole those 40 cakes in that children's book image. You guys ever seen
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah.
Lex Luthor stole 40 cakes, and stealing 40 cakes is bad. It's like some children's book, but
Murder is bad.
yeah.
I do feel like that could have had more gravity to it. My question, though, for you DC aficionados is this how Coast City was destroyed? Because I didn't know that. I thought it was destroyed a very different way at a different time.
Parallax
Mongol.
before, right? Was it?
No, it was Mongol.
It was Mongol. Okay.
It's the reason Hal Jordan becomes Parallax.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Isn't Cyborg Superman involved in that also, or is that not?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. He's not. He's not part of why Coast City goes, but yeah, he is involved. Yeah.
Okay.
So this book just proves like Coast City is the like even worse to live in than Gotham.
I mean, yeah. In Gotham,
The history ain't good.
there's at least a chance you'll survive.
Right. Like you might get mugged, and you might laugh a lot, and you
Yeah.
know, there'll be some bad times, but it's not going to get blown up.
Yeah.
I am so excited for this next issue. I always say like, oh, I don't really like alternate, stories for these characters. I'm very into continuity. This is a book that, obviously is not in continuity. Obviously, this is Mark Russell's stab at, a different version of DC's past, and I am so here for it. This is awesome.
Is there more? I thought this was one of one.
No.
There's more than one.
Yeah.
Get out. Yeah.
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 Oh, okay.
I mean,
Did you catch the last page, bud? Look, shows you
Flash
the
is
cover
showing up.
for issue 2.
Oh, all right. Double check that it's even in here.
I would say 2 questions. In the credits page, Mike Allred goes by Spike Allred now.
Heard
Did
that.
you see that?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. And also, I did see a Facebook ad for Mike Allred's doing the illustrated Weird Al Yankovic music videos.
What?
Oh,
Okay.
perfect.
I know, it's great.
That was my book of the week, for sure.
Almost was for me.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Really? God,
Yeah, I'm
what
surprised,
the-
honestly. Yeah.
Wow. All right. I don't know.
I'm surprised at Sean.
Yeah.
Not to say, not to denigrate the quality of the book or anything. It's just I am surprised.
Oh,
Can
when
I ask
read
why?
this-
I'm just curious. I'm curious.
It just doesn't strike me as your type of book.
Yep.
I guess
Yeah.
not. Well, the thing is that I love it when a writer takes these characters and asks you big questions with them. And I feel like not enough creators do that. Superman is a character who lends himself. I think the DC universe lends itself better to that than Marvel does. And yet I feel like so often that's not done. So a writer with poise and, a desire to tell a big story that's not about punching is more compelling to me. It's just rarer. But yeah, that was, in my mind, that was right up my alley, although I didn't expect it to be. So I guess in a way, yes, I agree with that.
So you are also surprised.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Pleasantly.
But so my book of the week, not yours, but do you all pull or
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Kale? Not so much.
Kale. Cool.
Yeah, I think it's a pull.
There is a $10 price tag on it. It's $9.99.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. No, don't pass.
It's a very like you have to really want to read this.
Yeah.
I can't just say buy it and to anyone. You have
I
to
think
really want this.
I think for me it's a good ass DC book. I don't necessarily know how good a Superman book it is, and for me the all red art it wasn't up to snuff, and Russell just didn't work for me. So for me, I gotta say it's a pass.
Okay, fair enough.
Drawing the line at $9.99.
I was gonna say,
How
does
mu-
Patreon let us change the $3 tier to $2.99 tier? Can we do that? Can we draw the line at $2.99?
That's funny,
Oh
and we
man,
technically could, but over time, we might feel that
That's true. Yeah.
a cent
we
off.
lose that penny. So Swamp Thing is on its penultimate issue for now. We don't know if it's been renewed for season 3. I suspect that similar, I believe, to the first season, we won't know quite yet. I think we had to wait a little bit to find that out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Swamp Thing 15. Rom V, another Rom V book, double dose. With the Spicer, with the Mikes, Mike and Mike. Mike Spicer, Mike Perkins, Aditya Bidikar. This is, again, the penultimate issue. Swamp Thing is now empowered by a different Green. Now he is a Green Lantern, or imbued with the powers of. I thought that a lot of the stuff that Swamp Thing had to say about being empowered by the green of the Earth, and then empowered by the Green Lantern and knowing will, and those two concepts and ideas now working through him, and how that changes him, and how I took that to be about how being exposed to ideas can take you out of whatever, ignorance, apathy, all that good stuff. I thought that was awesome. I really liked that aspect of this book, but I don't feel it the way I used to.
Yeah, I'm glad you got all that out of it because I did not. Like, I think the comments on Will and going beyond and above and beyond for the good of something, but man, the way that this is all culminated for me, it just feels too messy. It just feels like things are all over the place. It's like we were getting so much structure in the first season, and then the start of the second season kind of fell apart, and it's kind of just like a bunch of Lego pieces that are getting built as the story's going on, and like the part with his brother, and how he tries to reconcile with him, and I didn't feel it. The argument with, not the argument, I guess the battle between him and the machine, like I don't really care because I don't know what the end goal for the machine necessarily is, and there's just fucking aliens that are about to attack that only Swamp Thing is holding back, and I'm not necessarily sure what their end goal really is. Last issue was kind of just like a bunch of flashy art and talk with was it like a sentient seed or something, and but I still didn't understand like some of that connection, that connective tissue there wasn't there for me, and it just feels messy.
I would say I couldn't disagree more. This issue brought it all together for me.
What?
I really enjoyed this issue.
Yo, that medication must be working.
Oh, I got big brain mode on this issue, man. Because I see what it's about. It's about man versus nature, which obviously Swamp Thing, of course, that's what it's about. But it's the idea of man's will and sheer ambition in the form of the machine and the parliament of machines, versus man coming to terms with nature and and having to live with that ambition. And I was getting like real kind of every man having to deal with the idea of capitalism vibes from this too. There's like this giant machine, and like even like the avatar, not the parliament of the machines, are like talking like computers or analyzing. It's not human at all. It's
Yeah, that was cool.
Man's pure ambition creates the least human thing possible. Meanwhile, it's Swamp Thing kind of coming to terms with the will of man could actually be harnessed in a different way. And it's embracing man, embracing nature, embracing the earth. And then the whole idea of Trinity, I was like, the atomic bomb, like, where does that come in? And then it's like, oh, I'm going to introduce the sheer personification of man's ambition to its creation, and how its creation was even like against that thought of being this purely analytical thing. It learned to be human in a way too. So it's just like this weird thing going on that I really enjoyed. I do not know where the aliens fit in. I still don't understand that. But maybe it was just a way to bring Green Lantern in, and the idea of Will being on the page because there's aliens, and it's fucking cool looking. But I feel like I have a better sense of what he's going for with this now.
But even the machines, like that I feel like arc of man versus nature, in my opinion, it's derivative of the Charles Soule stuff, because I think it was done a little bit better there with the rhythm and like the way that Parliament was brought up and was actually like robots and
Sure.
AI and like a sentience where, yeah, this feels like it's taking so much from that it's diminishing its value. Like even the mechanical talking, like the logic of it, like your cogs, you're just machines parts. Like they're for me, it doesn't feel like there should be a logic to it or a language to it. Because those are means, not necessarily the things that provide you with insight, or the things that actually they're tools. And it feels like tools have come alive and are thinking like, oh, we're gonna what is, like, who is not invested in your existence, and what is the value of some advice, of like, what is the value of your advice. And it feels like these tools would not talk like that. It's much more direct, and it should be blunt. And I didn't vibe with the machine conversation angle of it.
I like the way they're talking because it feels like a computer. It feels like logic-based computers. It's not binary,
Analog?
but it's like, it's not even analog. It's logic-based. It's what plus what gives you this outcome. You know, it's like writing code. And that's why Swamp Thing essentially tries to reason with them with logic. To convince them otherwise. And it looks like that's where the final issue is going to be. It's like bringing in Trinity and kind of making that argument. Which, now that I say it, sounds like a courtroom proceeding. But hopefully we don't get that. I think there'll be a different way of expressing that.
And I'd be on with that. I would like that analog if it wasn't, or that analogy rather, if it didn't feel like these machine parts would be more akin to me, rather than a computer, like an abacus. Right, you're doing things manually. It's a tool still, but you're doing these things manually, versus a machine or computer, and AI is going to have that logic built in to then produce code, because you can't code with this thing, right? You can only build upon with the structures that it has, and the structure that it has is all mechanical. It doesn't, I don't know, thematically it doesn't jive with me.
I agree with everything you're saying, Tyler. I just feel like it's not as like what we've discussed to me is more interesting than the way it's presented. And I think that's the problem that I've had with the book for some time now, especially now that everything is pretty much clear and we understand what we've been looking at, because I haven't even been fully sure what we've been looking at. Now that I understand what we're looking at, I'm not so sure that looking at it, I mean, the art's beautiful, so I'm not even saying it like that. I'm just not so sure that I'm as interested looking at it as I am in thinking about it. Like, I'd almost rather hear Rom say these things than what is being shown here.
Sure. And I will say, I think issue 14 really dampened the pacing of it. 14 was like a obtuse issue for me. I don't know how he finishes it in one more issue, but we'll see.
And that's my other concern is, and I feel like I've brought it up, like, how is this all going to culminate? There's still things in the air. Like, there's still fucking aliens hovering around Earth about to blow shit up, right? Like, you can't do away with that in a few panels, right? Like, oh yeah, bye, we're friends now.
I think they're irrelevant. I think that's meant to be to sort of artificially create stakes, which I wish wasn't the case. But I think I think the idea is like, hey, the ambition of man is to what? Go to space. And that happened. And what's in space? Danger of aliens. They're coming, and it's a problem because we've been such bad people. I like that Swamp Thing is kind of the in between of all of these different ideas, and that he's kind of the one who's going to bring it all together. I'm into that. I guess I don't know. It's good. It's really good. I'm assuming that this is Tyler's pick of the week.
No.
All right.
Ooh.
And I am very curious to see how this is going to resolve. But again, I cannot say that my hype level is where it was. And when I saw the last page, and it was Trinity coming to speak to the Parliament, I was like, all right, well, great. The least interesting character is going to talk to the Parliament that I have spent basically no time with. It's hard to get up for that, and that's my issue.
The guy that, what was his name? I'm forgetting his name, but the person from, or the spirit that takes over the old man that they rebuilt, like even him coming in, like I don't understand how he's plugged into all this. It feels like they're cramming everything in. Like he's trying to make all these points and they're not meshing well together. And his character in particular just popping in at the last minute. Like, you're too late to stop this. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like
He's been that way the whole time.
Yeah, he was here.
Was he
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's just
since
been chilling there.
He's
No.
been in the mix.
Remember that issue where the guy was like grafted with all the different parts of the old Avatar?
Yeah. But I mean,
That's
like
as soon as he became alive, he was like, "Oh, that's the guy from issue 2."
right. But
Yeah.
he just like shows up, like he just waltzes in to this conflict with, or I guess conversation between Swamp Thing and the Parliament.
Am I crazy? I thought he was around.
I thought it
before.
was there the whole time. Yeah,
He's
because
just
he was
been,
there
like,
with the Parliament of the Gears. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
really? Okay, well that's my bad then.
And I even like that. Like I like the idea that this is like a culture vulture, for lack of a better term. Like this dude, this entity just shows up and assumes whatever role it feels like it wants to, but it's just greedy. It just wants to be in the mix. It doesn't have anything interesting to say. It's not. It has no interesting motive to it. It's petty. It's bullshit.
Kale? Want to see if Kale has thoughts on this one?
My only thought really is Swamp Thing was Green Lantern, and we don't really get anything with that. Like, that's cool, and nothing happens.
He only makes one construct, and it was just his own hand.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of
bit
hoping
like-
for, yeah.
Why are we doing this then?
Not much imagination for the Swamp Thing.
Yeah,
say that.
it's just like, is he gonna fight the aliens with the Green Lantern? That'd be cool.
I don't think. No, I think he's gonna stop the conflict.
It felt like they gave him the Green Lantern thing to make Green Lantern fans show up.
Give me the
And
old
now
Green Lantern rub, yeah.
I don't have thoughts about this book anymore. I really don't. To be honest, I'm struggling to understand why we're talking about it. Like we say the same thing every week, and I don't have thoughts about this anymore. I'll be surprised if it ends in a way I like.
All right. Well, there's only one issue to go that we have to talk about, so we'll be done with it. I'm saying pull still. I thought this was quite good, even if I'm not as pulled towards it as I used to be.
Yeah, I'm saying pull because otherwise, how will DC know that they should put out more Swamp Thing books?
If we're gonna metagame it, I would say pull because I do want more Swamp Thing books. But I think in terms of the actual story, you probably dropped off a couple issues ago if you didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine somebody new jumping into issue 15 of 16. So like, I liked it. I would have pulled. I will pull the next one. I think that's a better selling point for it for me. But new reader, maybe trade weight.
I mean, at this point, please. What the
Sure.
hell?
I mean, imagine if they do season 1 and 2 in a big hardcover too. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, once we're in the issue 15 of a book, the we're not discussing whether or not a newbie should pick it up.
sure. Yep.
Megalodon said, "Is it that bad?" I don't think so. I think Kale's grumpy. I don't think it's bad.
And that's the thing. I don't think it's bad. I just I think we say the same thing over and over. We're lost. We're the quality is diminished for us. I do think the quality is still there. It's just not as strong as it was. The message that he's giving has been lost. And I'm not sure what we're getting out of it. The art is still incredible. So if you're here for the Mike's, who is it, Perkins, then yeah, absolutely, I could see that. But I don't think it's bad. I think it's just it's certainly not for me anymore.
Quick shout out to Mike Perkins, because fucking Christ, he is drawing
Yeah.
the shit out of this every issue.
I would say the whole run has been career defining for him.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, you plucked that right out of my brain. Like
I do that a
Ant-Man.
lot with you, actually.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Ant-Man #1. I have a confession to make.
Fell asleep.
No. I read this entire issue, and the only time that I found out the creative team was right now. I had no clue who the creative team was.
Oh, so you don't actually do your research before you read the books? That's why I do all my own research.
I don't even look at the cover, apparently, because Al Ewing's name's on the cover, Tom Riley's name's on the cover, Jordi Belair's name's on the cover, Corey Pettit's is not, but that's okay.
Well,
I mean, it's not okay, but that's comics. I didn't know who did this, so I enjoyed this without knowing the creative team whatsoever.
Huh.
When I say I enjoyed it, what I really mean to say is that I thought it was kind of fun.
yeah, it was all right.
Welcome to my book of the week here.
Yeah, save. Let's go, Tyler.
I thought this was stupid as shit, and I loved it.
Well,
Ant-Man. No, I mean that in a good way.
In a fun way.
no, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Because Ant-Man is not a serious character. Especially if you go back to the origins of Ant-Man, he didn't have a rogues gallery. He had nobody. He was fighting crooks. This plays on that. This is like a callback to early Journey into Tales to Astonish, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, Tales to Astonish. Where Ant-Man was fighting window washers and guys with age rays and a guy with a magical trumpet. Stupid villains. I remember when the Ant-Man movie first came out, I was like, who the hell are they going to make the villain in that? He doesn't have a rogues gallery. And it plays with that.
They had to make one.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. But this plays with that. And I like how there's this bookend of this new Ant-Man. It looks like, and it smells like, he's going to be recruiting all of the Ant-Men for some future thing. I like how this issue also showed the other two Ant-Men in there. It's a young Eric O'Grady is in the background here. Scott Lang is in here for a quick bit. It's set in this weird, timeless, early Marvel era where, Janet Van Dyne and Hank Pym are just going to the theater. Janet makes a Francois Truffaut reference. I was like, yep, that's my thing. Into that. And the Tom Riley art is just, I love this kind of art. Like, if you can say, like, I can name like Darwin Cook, Chris Somney, Tom Riley, like that kind of flat, cartoony, classic comic stuff is my fucking jam. And the way Riley kind of does his art style in two different ways in this issue. He does it in a real classic way, and it has this weird kind of like aged paper look to it too. So thanks, Jordy Blair, on that one. Juxtaposed with the future version where there's no lines; it's just color. It's just great. I loved everything about this.
The exact opposite in terms of process, like from an art perspective. I thought that was genius. Like the moment that he teleports into there's the one panel that is in the same style, like that color style, and he transports and there's two panels where you just have like this like grain to it, it's like texture and noise. I'm like, oh, I'm fucking sold. That's it. And then the title page, you got me with that. I thoroughly enjoy. I like going back to the start of series. Yeah, that opening title page, man, that was so good. And even at the bottom where it has like in text, it is said that you can judge a man by his enemies that he makes, and it spins off into like this narration.
Yeah,
I loved it. It was excellent. And
there's a recap paragraph for no recap. Like,
yeah, you know, like he plays into all these like classic tropes of early comics, and I think one of the things that we had mentioned in our book club for Chainsaw Man, actually, it reminded me where there are moments in that where people are just having dinner or they're just drinking at a bar, and this is Hank Pym and Jan just watching a movie, and there's a simplicity to it, and there's a really it's a good way to get into the life of a hero and not have it be surrounded with, okay, my villains and my superhero work and all that stuff. Like it has elements of that, but the fact that we're in a different environment and not just out on the streets patrolling, that felt so refreshing to me. And it was in this artistically classic style that I'm like, oh, this is absolutely appropriate. And it hit all the bells and whistles for me.
Yeah, I found this to be fun. I'm not, overly. I mean, I'm not into comics that have like tons of unnecessary dialogue, and this is very much that. It's an old style. That's how comics used to be written, for sure. But this is charming, for sure. Even just the moments of Hank and Janet at the movie. And it's a movie. It's a Submariner versus Fantastic Four movie. That's so funny. Like, what? Why would that be the movie?
Directed by the Submariner.
Right. Yeah. Like that's really funny. And I don't know. There were some good moments. Like I've never really read Ant-Man comics like that. Certainly not Hank Pym Ant-Man comics. So seeing a romp of his was enjoyable. But I don't know if I really care what's going to happen after this.
No. What about it didn't like? What didn't you gravitate about it?
Well, I frankly just don't care that much about Ant-Man. Like any version. I care most about Hank Pym, but only within the context of modern comics. So this is a tough sell for me. I frankly wouldn't buy this if it wasn't for this show. I'm not mad I did. I had a good time, but it's just not my jam.
Fair enough. Yeah. To quote Janet Van Dyne, "Phooey to you, sir."
I'll take it, I guess.
I love shit like that.
Right? Oh,
yeah.
The best part, I popped off so hard for the stupidest thing. Where was it? It was I'm gonna find it.
I want to see the same thing I'm thinking of.
He's punching the old guy. He's like, "Curse, you're free. Curse you, you're free." He's like, "Is an 80-year-old Ant-Man a physical match for an 80-year-old Time Master? In a word, Pilgrim, and how?" Oh, yes. So fucking good.
My favorite joke was that the ants can't spell. They spelled Halep.
I thought that was great.
Funny.
That was funny.
English is their second language.
Yeah. And that's a really cool just like goof for comics, right? Like that is a thing that you can show that movement in time for just a beat. Really well done.
Also, can I point out that there is an ad in this book that gave me a mean case of deja vu, and it is this Avengers 1 million BC or whatever The secret of Thor's origin revealed with a phoenix symbol on it. I swear that they've dealt with this already 5 times.
Why is that in there?
I don't know.
Because he buys physical, Tyler.
No, I don't think it's fully done yet. I think they still haven't told. It's still like we know the Phoenix is his mom, sort of. But we don't know the full story of it yet. So maybe this is we get to see the inception of Thor. Hey,
Yeah, we talked about this. This was a news article.
yeah, when it was announced, but I don't think we've actually finally read it yet.
Oh,
And I won't be. I'm gonna pass on this. I'm gonna say pass. I enjoyed it. It was fun, but I have no interest in what's coming next, and I don't think this will be for most people.
book of the week, bullet.
I like future Ant-Man. I thought he was cool.
Looked pretty cool.
I bet you like his costume, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what the Ant-Man are up to. Pull it. It was fun.
I'm going to say Pull It 2 is my book of the week, but also because next issue is Eric O'Grady, and it's set during Secret Invasion. So I'm curious to see how Al Ewing thematically makes a flashback to that era of comic book writing, the way he did in this.
Shit.
That's
All right.
I know, Sean.
Yeah, come on.
And Eric O'Grady's the kind of Ant-Man that would shrink down and watch women shower. He's a fucking scumbag. So
What the fuck?
Wait, why did you throw that out there as a sell? That's not a sell.
No, I'm just saying he's a piece of shit person. Irredeemable Ant-Man was a Robert Kirkman. He's a Robert Kirkman creation for
Phil
Marvel
Hester?
Comics.
Is that right?
Phil Hester, yeah. I have the issues of it in physical. Yeah. He's a fun character. He's not a good person. He never really becomes a good person either. In fact, he becomes a villain. He becomes sort of good in Remender's Secret Avengers, but I'm excited for issue 2. So pull it.
It's cool.
All right. Well, were you excited to read 900 pages of Amazing Spider-Man number 900, aka number 6?
I wasn't excited, but once I opened it and I saw it was Ed McGuinness, I'm like, I could deal with it. You know, I love Ed McGuinness, so.
You like
You know
this?
what? Controversial statement. Book of the week.
Oh, what?
I thought it was a pretty good one and done Spider-Man story drawn by Ed
was fun.
McGuinness.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was fun.
Showcased all his major Sinister Six villains. I thought it was serviceable to good.
Sean, I don't know what these people are smoking.
I had a good time, man.
Listen, I understand why Tyler's altered, but Kale, I don't. I mean, look. First of all, I want to say this. This is a book by Zeb Wells, with art by Ed McGuinness, and that's the creative team on the, primary story, which is again quite long. It's difficult for me to pick up a book by Ed McGuinness and come away unhappy. I think Ed McGuinness is damn good. And I know that he's gotten a lot of flack in the past, but I don't know. I'm into it. So from the art standpoint, I thought this was very good.
Yeah.
But boy, if this story didn't need to end like many pages earlier than it did. And boy, if I couldn't tell that Zeb Wells was dragging it. This comic book was the definition of dragging it. Mm-hmm. This robot asked the same question, who is Spider-Man, about 27 times.
I gotta say, like, even though I like this, it did drag on. I'm on ADHD medication, and I still skipped the backups because I just couldn't pay attention anymore. This book was too long.
Oh
for
yeah,
me.
I didn't.
Like-
I didn't read the backups.
It was like
I
all
read
right,
the
come on,
backups.
Get
Marvel
to it.
cartoon one was good.
I was like, I go to the library. I don't need to be convinced. I'm fine.
The last one was cute.
Yeah.
I like the last one.
Last one was good.
Dan Slott. Dan Slott and Marcos Martin, by the way. Marcos Martin,
I did look at it. It was
tremendous
nice.
talent. But like, come on. A Sinister Six amalgamation robot mech thing. Sorry, dude. I can't do it.
It's an Avengers
cool.
villain. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Adaptoid's an Avengers villain. They typically took a whole bunch of Avengers powers and fought the Avengers. So I was like, oh, this is a good spin on the Adaptoid.
Oh, what's the DC
Amazo, yeah.
I like those characters. I like the Adaptoid. I like Amazo, but I just I don't know.
I like that when I think it's gonna go one way, especially in those Adaptoid moments, and Peter interacting with the Sinister Six. When I think it's gonna go one way, the next panel is like, no, come on. Like, I found that it really worked for me. And the thing about I guess, I don't know, the robot guy,
The Living Brain, yeah.
the living brain. I liked his search for the unanswerable question or whatever, and I thought his insistence of who is Spider-Man and nobody could answer it until the guy was shown. I thought that was really strong, actually.
Me too, yeah.
The origin of the living brain could have been edited down a hair.
A hair, like 3 pages.
But yeah, I and even like the bickering of the Sinister Six could have been toned down a hair.
The bit where they keep making making fun of Mysterio for just like producing smoke as his power, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
because even he was like, "Oh, come on, guys!" Like,
As a
I was a fan
tool
of
to have them defeated that way, and like to defeat that the android thing was that was cool. That was a good, comedic way to have it all shake out. But man, everything in this, yeah, to Sean's point, dragged. But I didn't care about any of this shit. And I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about with Ed McGuinness. He has some chibi ass art, and I was not about it. I don't. This felt like, and I'll be honest, I have a bias.
chibi ass art.
Tell me not.
No, it's my man. That is not chibi.
But it just like there's like the roundness to these faces a lot of the time. The big ass.
everyone's got like a
eyes.
Chad chin, like a jawline with
And
McGuinness
these
art. Yeah.
huge, these huge eyes. That I don't.
Yo, Craven looked psychotic in
I
every
loved the way he
page.
looked. I thought it was
I'm not
great.
complaining. I thought it was sick, but he just looked crazy.
Sean and Kale, McGuinness's flack comes from that Hulk run, right?
Yes, with you're talking about with Jeff Loeb, right? The Red Hulk.
Jeff Loeb's Hulk run, yeah. Which I maintain, good run.
Whoa,
I think it's a fun run. It's stupid.
that
Red
was
Hulk
one
with a
of the
golden gun.
That was
fun.
one of the first comics that I remember reading where I was angry. Like, what is happening? Like, I can't handle this.
I didn't actually read that. I love McGuinness from the old Superman Batman stuff.
Yep. His Nova run with Jeff Loeb, great.
Yeah.
He McGuinness feels like almost what do you call the guys that not cartooning but like the guys that do caricatures, yes, very much so.
especially
Expressionless.
in that the page where Jonah shows up being dragged by the arms.
Mm-hmm.
I had to like take a second look at that. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
But that also like weirdly pulled me in.
it took me straight out.
Oh, I loved it. I don't know, like, and then the next page, Peter's expression, or I guess a couple of pages in.
Oh, he's just like,
Yeah. I was like, there's some Mad Magazine shit. I don't know what's going on here,
I couldn't.
but
do it.
it just worked for me, man.
Yo, can I ask you something? If Ed McGuinness was on the book proper, full time, and not Ramita, do you think you would enjoy it more? Like, if you think about what you read and you think about McGuinness being the artist on it instead, do you think you would enjoy it?
He's thinking about it.
I could see that. Yeah, I really like the first Ramita issue. The second one didn't work as much for me, but I think if I didn't have the gap between the first and the second issue, of what we read on the show of Amazing Spider-Man, if I got all that in the trade, I wouldn't notice.
I think for me, Romita's always that guy that they give headlines for, like, oh, Romita's back on art. I'm like, you just said that last year. He was on a different book that you just praised. Like when Ed McGuinness shows up in a book, like I don't see that guy often. So like I'm like, oh shit. Like he did Heroes Reborn with Jason Aaron. I like that story because of Ed McGuinness, honestly. Him drawing Hyperion, fucking fucked. It was great.
Matt is compelling me to reread the Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness Hulk, and I must tell you, with all respect to the creators involved, that I can think of several things I would harm myself with before I would want to do that. But maybe you're right. I get you're completely correct when you say I read it as a teen. So maybe it's better now, or maybe I would see it differently. That's entirely possible. But I have a very difficult time believing that that's the case. So maybe one day, but that day is not today. All due respect.
To quoting Matt here, you know what fucks? Bobby and Felicia. What's up with them?
Ship that.
Oh yeah.
What's going on there? Who are these characters? Well, Felicia I know, but I don't know who Bobby is. But I don't think I
Mockingbird.
know.
Mockingbird.
Bobby's
Yeah.
Mockingbird.
Bobby Morse. Hawkeye's
Sean,
ex.
could you turn to the page where it's a double page spread where Spider-Man just finishes like lifting the truck that got flipped?
Let's see. Just finished lifting the truck that got flipped. This one.
All right, look at my man's leg. Okay, that's some fucked up leg shit right there. All right.
Yo,
That-
everyone's
talking
down on the way people
How-
draw
what are you-
Spider-Man.
I can't even see it. What,
Are you
wait.
kidding me? Look at it. It's like,
Oh,
dude,
okay.
he just has issues with form that I could not get by. There are parts later where like arms look all crinkly and stuff, and couldn't do it.
I don't think so. I think
Where-
you're making that up.
Follow the straight line from his knee and thigh, right? Where's his hip? Where should his hip be? His hip should not be there. That should not be angled that way. His hip's gonna be like close to his shoulder.
I got action figures. You can make
All
that
right.
pose work. If they got the good hip joints, you could do it.
Matt goes, "That's me on the shitter."
Yeah, once you practice with a squatty potty, you can make
that.
those poses.
A squatty potty? Okay. That's where this conversation ends.
Do you have one of those,
I'm-
Sean?
What?
I recommend getting one of those.
Oh, they're pretty good.
All right.
We're the only animals that poop sitting down.
Yeah.
So everybody else just casually
Squats.
walks around. Oh, squats. Okay. I saw a video of a woman in a store walking around, and she just dropped a shit. Like she didn't break stride. She just walked
my God.
and just dropped it and kept it pushing.
Would
And then
you?
someone slipped on it, which is the
Was
worst
it near an
part.
escalator?
I
I think I've seen the same video. I think I've seen
Might have been?
like
Okay.
some older white guy slips on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Love that video. It's great.
I'm going to pass because as much as I love Spidey and would love to celebrate, I would love to recommend that you celebrate 900 with him. I think you can do better. I think you could change your profile picture on Twitter to a classic Spidey moment, and you would save about $10, which is the cover price of this comic book. I don't think it's worth $10. I think that's a high asking price, and the backups are fun and cute, but certainly not necessary. One where Spider-Man meets Jimmy Kimmel and has a little adventure with him. One where he has to return his library books, and it's about $1 million. And then another one where he gets made fun of as a kid for not having a date, but he's a hero, so who cares? That was the basics of it. I can't say that it's worth $10. I just can't do it. So I would say pass.
Hard
I-
pass.
Yeah, I have to say pass because it's $10. That's asinine. But if you're looking for a story about a single story that shows you who Spider-Man is, and it's a good scoop of Spider-Man, I think this is good. It's not $10 good, but it is good.
Get back to me in 3 months when this is on Marvel Comics Unlimited. Then I recommend it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Reasonable. Also, I would like to quickly say, I know that's not the point of this, but I would like to say that the Amazing Spider-Man book has been fire. I really like it.
I'm getting caught up this weekend, Sean. So
Yeah, maybe I'll get in trade.
With Ramita?
Yes.
No thanks.
Zeb Wells. Yeah.
Fair. Zeb Wells.
I think Zeb Wells is a good writer. I'm happy to see him around again.
This notwithstanding, I completely agree. I think he's very talented, and I think he's bringing interesting things out of Tombstone and others that no one has ever cared about. So,
What was he on before this? Moon Knight?
No, Zeb Wells. He
Who's on Moon Knight? Who's the other
Jed
guy?
McKay. It's Jed McKay. Yeah. I don't think Zeb Wells was on much really before that. He was on like Nonstop Spider-Man or something like that.
as far as a high-profile book, I would say it's kind of been a while.
Yeah. Okay.
But
In fact, I think it was a while there where he wasn't even doing comics. I think.
Did he do the weird? Was it Hellions?
Yeah, he
Hell
did.
yeah.
I'm looking at
Oh
it now.
yes, which was fantastic. Yeah.
and C.W. Gordon says Spider-Man Beyond.
I know he did Spider-Man Beyond. What's before Spider-Man? C.W. Gordon.
It was yeah, you're right. It was Hellions, correct.
Yeah, which was
I
fun.
loved. Yep. He did a Young Avengers Runaways Civil War tie-in that I thought was very good.
Wait, OG Civil War?
Yeah, Young Avengers Runaways Civil War. It was a 4-issue.
Stefano Caselli.
I don't know about that.
Been a
That was a
while.
long time ago, though, so he's probably approved since then.
Wow. So that's it for our reviews, but the show's certainly not done because we have Pals Pool, or not? Sorry,
No,
not
we
Pals
have
Pool.
Comics Tag.
Comics Tag. Thank you.
Yeah, I read the entirety of Tilly Walden's The End of Summer.
Oh, thank God.
That's right.
I was so
It was-
worried it was me, and I completely forgot.
No, I forgot until 4 p.m. today, and then I was like, "Oh shit!" But thankfully, it's on Comixology Unlimited. I was able to read it there. There's a big cat in it that this kid rides. It's a weird book. It's about this like family, and they're like all, I guess they're royalty, and they're in this giant mansion, and it's kind of weird because they're all stuck in there, and they lock the doors because the cold is coming. It's the end of summer, and they have to be indoors for 3 years. And the whole story just revolves around the family slowly going nuts. I would say the actual story is a little weird and a little obtuse and a little hard to kind of follow. But there is a real air of, I don't want to say vibe because I hate that word. I'm on the dating apps now. I'm tired of the word fucking vibe. It's annoying. If I see vibe or like I geek out on Harry Potter, that's a left. The vibe of this book, it's good. It's like it almost is a little weird, like the Romvi Detective Comics. It's like this weird gothic. It feels like the castle from Beauty and the Beast, but it's fucking gorgeous. Tilly Walden really fucking knocks it out of the park. There's these weird interactions between our family members, and then there's like a weird dynamic with the workers in the house too. It moves very fast, but like I recommend it, man. Tilly Walden, I'm a fan now. What's the other book, Marco, that you were gonna mention by Tilly Walden?
She has
Clementine just came out?
Clementine?
Yeah. Which that's good stuff. I'm actually gonna pack that one with me.
While Marco finds that, Tyler, can I just point out the insane hypocrisy of you going on a minute-long rant about the word vibes, and then you just used it like right away?
I know.
That blew my brain out.
Contradicted myself. Yeah. I'm a multifaceted person, Sean.
Tyler, if I would say Spinning is a very good book. I think that one won an Eisner. I love this part. It was all right. And then I liked Are You Listening? That was pretty good.
Okay. It's kind of the same feeling I got reading this that I did when I read Into the Woods. It's a great one. Hold on. Who's that by? Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. Fantastic book.
You know what?
That's
Much
not
better
my
than
tag,
Into
though.
the Woods.
Oh yeah, Into the Woods is that Broadway play, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
So who
I
you tag?
recommend that. Well, Sean, I'm actually tagging you. Do you have the stream open, Sean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So I want you to read Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness's Hulk.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I want you to try and give that a go again.
Are you serious? Is that the tag?
That's the tag. It's on the screen.
It is now.
It's there.
That's crazy. Tyler, did you know that this was your pick already, or?
No, he
No, I
didn't.
work on the fly, man.
He had nothing. He came here.
Oh no, my original was something you would have liked. Honestly, I was gonna give you Fear Agent, but instead you got Hulk.
Wow.
Just try it,
dude,
Sean.
I could have had a reason to break out the sweet omnibus that I have.
I know. Maybe next time.
And I
maybe
would have been
next time.
so happy. And
But you
instead,
besmirched-
You give me this shit.
You
give me this
besmirched
shit.
Thunderbolt
Look-
Ross's image.
I love Thunderbolt Ross. I like Red Hulk.
It's good.
I
It's
just don't
good.
like this. This is Jeff Loeb at that weird point that we all know about. We don't have to say it.
Wait, well,
We
I don't
all
know about it. Hold on a second. I don't know about it. Whoa, what's going on? I don't read comics.
Yeah, what happened, Sean? I totally forgot.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Something about his
Listen,
kid.
dude, you better
Is
hit
that
up,
what
you
happened?
better hit up Wikipedia, bro.
Give it
Yes,
2
his
seconds.
kid. Yes, his kid.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But see, now the way it's set up, I can't say what happened because it sounds horrible. I sound like a complete piece of garbage. So, but I'll say this with no joking or sarcasm at all.
Oh, his kid
Marco.
died. Yeah, Marco. His kid
child
died. Yeah,
died.
Passed away. Yeah.
And the Jeff Loeb before that and the Jeff Loeb after that are decidedly different creators, in my opinion. Where the same guy who did
The Long Halloween.
the Long Halloween,
Yeah.
the same guy who did the Color series and all that, didn't feel like the same guy who did this and certain other books that came out after the fact. So, yeah.
I'd argue it is the same guy, but just actively going against it. It's actively trying to do something that's not that. It's him trying to do something that is popcorn. It's not heavy. It's goofy. It's dumb. And it plays to McGinnis' strengths. And it had friggin' Frank Cho covers. And Arthur Adams, too. Like, I maintain that it is dumb fun. So.
Polar Knights, is that a are you saying that you like Kale's beard? Is that what?
I got the impression it was all of us.
Oh, all right. Well,
Because,
It's
like,
not,
you know, if
not
you
all
look
of us.
between the-
There's probably three of
between-
us. It's
Well,
not
if you
me.
look between the 4 of us, it's like the evolution of a beard.
It's true.
oh,
that's
I
what they're
see.
saying?
Okay, yes, okay. Thank you, Polar Knights. That's a funny comment.
So I'm in the
and-
Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite stage.
Yeah.
Or the Pedro,
No,
honestly.
worse. You're Pedro.
Yeah. I'm going to shave my whole head later. hot in here.
Shenron, I love
can see
Hulk
that.
as a character. It's this run that I'm not terribly excited for, but I have been tagged, and so I must read it. Now, Tyler, how much of this am I reading?
Until you like it. No, just have whatever you want. I'm not going to be a stickler for that. I'll go easy on that for you. I do recommend. Matt mentions the Art Adams Wendigo issue. That is fun. The Hulk with the gun is fun. Just start it and see how you feel.
Hulk with a gun.
Hulk with a gun.
These are the kinds of things I try
Golden
to
gun.
avoid. But Polar Knights, is that your first? It didn't say first comment.
It's not.
I guess
It's
it
not.
wasn't.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, well, thank you for being here anyway. Appreciate it. All right. Well, I will be reading that next week. Here is a preview of books we might be reading next week. Pals Pulls is up next, and this is the segment where we tell you guys the books that we're most excited about coming up next week. And some of these we will be reviewing here on the show.
Yeah, so it was Kale and I are pulling new champion of Shazam #1. The writer is escaping me right now,
That's
but
quite
it is
cover.
a Doc Shaner, Mary Marvel book. Like
Yes.
Is
that
it-
alone. It's
who's writing
written
this?
by Josie Campbell, who I'm unfamiliar with. I'm looking up their work right now.
Yeah.
Not much. Future State Green Lantern, Wonder Woman Black and Gold. Something tells me this might be a prose to comics writer. But
If
I'll
I
look it
have
up.
the right person, she is a television
Oh,
writer and
yeah.
producer.
Yep, comedy writer.
Yeah. Worked on She-Ra for Netflix.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So has
Justice
chops.
League Action, yeah.
Yep.
4 issues. Oh yeah, this will be fun. Yeah. So this is Mary Marvel finally getting her shot at the big lightning bolt as the champion of Shazam. Billy Batson has disappeared for whatever reason, and
He's got
now
performance
the-
anxiety again. I think that's what it is.
Sounds right. I mean, that happens when you're 12.
Yeah.
And now the wizard has passed his power on to Mary. So I think it's rad that it's finally her time. And Doc Shaner art, man, come on.
Yep, for that alone.
Sean, I just DM'd you some news for Saturday on Twitter.
Okay.
But I also am pulling Sword of Azrael #1. This is by Dan Waters, and you think I would have been prepared for this? Dan Waters, and on art we have somebody whose name I can't pronounce.
Nicola Sizmeja.
That I probably could have at least done a better job at that than that. But let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, so it's Nicholas Sizmeja.
What did I just say?
Yeah, you
Not
that. Yeah. So Dan Waters wrote Azrael in the Arkham book he did with Danny recently. Azrael was kind of one of the main characters in that, and I believe this is a continuation of the Azrael stuff that was in Gotham. There's like a Gotham, not an anthology book, but there's this book that come up, Gotham Knights or something like that. I don't know. I kind of like Azrael as a character. I like Dan Waters as a writer. Sure, I'll give this a go. I really like the logo design on this for the this book. It's Sword of Azrael, and it's shaped like a sword. I looked at the artist who did it, put their process on Twitter. That was very interesting. So yeah.
Did you ever
Kale.
read the Azrael comic by who did it? It was so good. Damn it.
I'm gonna say no because I honestly haven't read an Azrael specific comic. Azrael is.
well.
I've read Azrael in other things. You know, I've read him in Justice League Odyssey. Read him in Batman comics. In White Knight. You know, but yeah, not specifically Azrael.
Oh, he pops up in White Knight.
Volume 2.
I gotta read.
Very
that stuff.
interesting.
Gotta finish.
Kale, you're also pulling Golden Rage #1, a new image #1.
Yeah, new image #1. So this book is about old ladies who beat each other to death.
Yeah.
It's by let's see, Lauren Knight and Chrissy Williams, written by Chrissy Williams, and the art's done by Lauren Knight, I believe. The synopsis is: in a world where older women who've been deemed useless to society are abandoned on an island, Golden Rage documents their golden years of making friends, baking dessert, and fighting to the death.
Is there some kind of an agenda in Hollywood to tell stories with old ladies specifically?
I think so, honestly, because there's been a lot of flack for there not being enough roles for older people, specifically older women.
True.
Yep.
So now we got Golden Rage, we got the old ladies in Shazam, and we got
Old ladies and X-Men.
the
Wow,
old ladies
he's called
in
Lucy
X-Men.
Liu an old lady. Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
That's I'm not even talking about her. I'm talking about the portrayal of the character that whatever
okay.
character
Fine.
that is. Matt, we have a highlighted message from Golden Rage. Oh God, I gotta
Or
say
Dick
it.
Fight Island.
Dick Fight Island.
I mean, listen, if I have the choice, it's going to be Dick Fight Island, but, you know.
Sean, do you know about Dick Fight Island?
Never heard of it.
It's manga.
Liar.
It's
I've
exactly
shared a
what you
picture.
think.
Marco, do you think that I made space in my brain for that?
He puts
I
whatever
thought
you
you
say right in the
listened to
recycle
me.
bin.
You share so much weird shit. Come on, man.
It doesn't all fit.
No, it
He's got
doesn't
X-Men lore to fit in
at
there.
all. Yeah, I got X-Men on the brain.
Sean, it was you that pulled Public Domain 2, was it? Yeah.
Public domain too. Did I? No,
Oh wait,
that came
no,
out. That's
no,
out this week.
that's an extra tab from last week. Never mind. You pulled Batman, is what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. I was not present for the review of 125, and I read it, and that issue was amazing. What a hot start I thought to Chip's run. I cannot wait to see where it's going. The tease at the end was I don't know what to make of it. We got a robot, but it gave me it reminded me of whenever Batman lost his mind and he became the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. It was like it was that in and of itself was sort of like a failsafe. So this kind of reminded me of that. And then the Jimenez art was just berserk. Like, what a great comic book. So yeah, I'm all in on this.
And then you also had Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths #3.
Yes. Not branded the way it needs to be yet. It's still Dark Crisis. Not sure why they don't just, I don't know, put the proper name on the title now. It's just gonna change out of nowhere. It's odd.
I'm so happy I don't collect physically anymore, because imagine seeing those all lined up and then like the titles are different. That would annoy the shit out of me.
It's gonna happen to me, and I'm going to be annoyed by it. But issue 2 was so great. I thought Joshua Williamson really showing why he was chosen for this, has the chops, understands the relationships at DC that readers care about, and how to bring those characters together in interesting ways. So I'm very excited for the future of this.
Marco, you picked Sacrament #1 by Peter Milligan and Marcelo Frusin. This is an AWA book.
AWA has been, I think, firing on all cylinders. Pretty much any book that I've picked up has been a banger, and I'm a Peter Milligan mark. I really like his work, so if he's doing his stuff here, I'm gonna pick it up. It is the first sentence of the synopsis is The Exorcist meets Alien in this sci-fi horror story. Okay, you got me. Don't even need to read no more. You're good.
And you're also picking 007, and this is by Philip Kennedy Johnson, I believe, right?
It is, and so I really like the James Bond series. I've been picking it up, I think, ever since the relaunch with Garth Ennis a few years back. And
Warren Ellis?
Is it Warren Ellis? I thought it was Garth Ennis.
I just remember Bob Q was on art. That's what Bob Quinn was on art, and that was very good. But yeah.
But I've been picking up pretty much anything and everything that is 007, and the fact that Philip Kennedy Johnson's on this, I like him as a writer, and so I'm gonna pick this up. And considering he has like actual combat experience and all that stuff, I wonder what that flavor, if he's gonna bring some of that flavor into this book. So I'm picking it up.
That's awesome. A fun ass Tommy Lee Edwards cover though.
Mm-hmm.
Is that who's on art?
No, on art is Marco Finnegan, who I don't know, but they're bound to be good because the artists are always pretty stellar.
007 has gotten some pretty good creative teams.
Yeah, dude.
Over the years.
Honestly, that first run of everything, I think it's like Vargr, Vargr. Excellent storytelling.
That's it. Those are our books that we're looking forward to next week. As I said, we'll read some amount of those next week here on the show. So come back and join us. If you want to recommend books for us to read, you can always hit our line somewhere. Leave a comment in the description of this video. Leave a comment to us here on Twitch if you want. Join our Discord server. Drop us a comment there. Plenty of ways to get in contact with us. Make sure you leave us a like, a follow, a rating, a review. All those things help us out a lot more than they cost you. And any platform you listen to us on, there's a way to support us in that regard. So please do that. That helps us out a lot. And if you want more of us, patreon.com/thecomicspals. Tons of content, exclusive content over there, be it our newsletter, be it our show Palling Around. There's stuff for you if you're a fan of what we do here. And of course, our backlog of episodes that runs 300 plus episodes deep. We just celebrated our 300th episode this past weekend. So thank you guys so much for joining and listening. Until next week, take care, guys.
See you next week.